Hi guys, welcome to Code Bashers. Guys, in this video, we will be discussing about the REST controller annotation. We will also be discussing about the difference between controller as well as the REST controller annotation. Guys, this is the 8th video in our Spring Boot for interview series. We have covered lot of annotations till now and we are slowly moving towards the advanced level annotations. So if you have not watched those videos till now, I will give you the link of the playlist in the description box. Make sure to watch that playlist, because if you are a beginner in Spring Boot or you are preparing for Spring Boot interviews, then this playlist will be very much beneficial for you. So guys, now let's start this video, and before starting the video, please hit that like button because it motivates me to make more such videos. Okay, and do hit that subscribe button and do share this video among your friends. So guys, now let's start this video. Okay, so guys, the REST controller annotation. REST controller annotation is an extension of controller annotation specifically used for building REST APIs. Now, what is this REST controller? It is nothing but the controller plus response body annotation. So if we combine controller and response body annotation, so this is the REST controller annotation. Now, let's just see what you are doing currently and how our REST controller annotation will help us. Okay, let's just quickly move towards the editor. So see, currently, in previous videos, we have seen that inside the controller method, when we are trying to return a Java object, for example, the string only, so we cannot directly return the Java object, as our client, that is our postman, will not know what is this Java object. Okay, so for converting this Java object into the JSON or XML format, what we were doing, we were using response body annotation explicitly. So one annotation was the controller annotation, that is, in controller class, we map all the endpoints to the specific method. And inside those controller methods, when we are trying to return a Java object, it was giving us the error that we cannot send this Java object directly. For sending this Java object, but we needed to serialize it to the JSON or XML format. Okay, for that we were using this response body annotation explicitly. So this was something like a trouble for us. So now what we have done, for the RESTful APIs, we will not be using this controller annotation. What we will be doing, we will be simply using the REST controller annotation. Okay, not the controller annotation. We will simply be using this REST controller annotation. Okay, so as of now, you just need to understand this, and with the example I will show you in the later part of the video. At this moment, I hope that things are clear, that REST controller is simply controller plus response body annotation. Okay, now you will be confused that when to use controller and when to use REST controller. Okay, so let's just see the difference between REST controller and controller. So controller annotation is used when we want to return a view or an HTML page from our endpoint. So we all know that what we do, we map a endpoint to a method. Okay, we do all the processing, and in that we are returning something. So @controller annotation is used when your application also have a UI part also. That is, you have the UI part also in your application and you are having the backend also in Java. So in that case, what we do, we use controller annotation, and from the methods, from the controller methods, we do not return Java object, we return the name of the view. For example, home.html, this is how we will return it. For I am just giving you the example. So from this we will have to return the view. So whenever that endpoint will be hit, whenever that controller endpoint will be hit, so a view will be displayed on the page. So that will say like it is a welcome page or any of the pages. So again, I'm telling you, controller is used when you will have to return a view, that is an HTML page from the endpoint, from a specific endpoint. Then controller is used. And when REST controller is used, so REST controller is used when we want to return the data in the form of JSON XML from our endpoint. So like we have seen, so in these cases, what we were doing, we were like hitting the API, hitting the endpoint from our postman, and we were expecting the data to be returned in the form of JSON or XML. So in this case, what we'll do, for this purpose, we will be using REST controller. What we are doing, we were using controller and then serializing our Java object to JSON using the response body. But instead of doing it, we will be using REST controller. So I hope now the difference is clear to you. Controller is when the controller method should return a view. That is, when we hit that endpoint, we should display a page on our Chrome browser. Whereas REST controller will be used when we are making APIs, and when we hit an endpoint, we expect a response in the form of data. And what is the data? Where data can be in JSON format or the XML format. So this is when we have to use the REST controller. Okay, so I hope now the difference between controller and REST controller is clear to you. Now let's just quickly move and let's just see an example of REST controller. Okay, so let's just make a Java class only and we will name it as test REST controller. Okay, yes. Now let's just give any endpoint. First, let's just define any function name. So it can be public, return type will be string, and let's just say dummy only. Okay. In this, what we are returning? We are returning a string which will say I am in test controller for testing of REST. Let's just see testing of. Okay, let's just simply say I am in REST controller, not okay, in REST controller. So this is what we are simply doing, and we are giving the annotation at the class level as @REST controller. Okay, and on this method we have to map it to the endpoint. So using request mapping annotation, we will be giving the value. So what will be the value? Value will be, let's just say slash rest only, slash rest, and our method will be get method we are calling. Okay, so this is a REST controller and this is a method which has been mapped to this particular endpoint. Now let's just see simply by running this application first. So our application has started. Yes, so our application has started. So let's just first hit the REST endpoint. So this 8090, we will be simply hitting this REST endpoint slash REST. Okay, and we are hitting the get request. Okay, get request and send. So here you can see that we have been printed I am in REST controller. So if we were using simply the controller method, if we were using simply the controller annotation, then what we had to do, we would have got the error on this and we have to explicitly include response body annotation on this dummy method. But now since we are using REST controller, our return from this function, that is the Java object, is automatically getting converted into the JSON or XML without explicitly defining the response body annotation. So REST controller annotation is simply controller plus, but we will say controller plus response body. So I hope now that response body, REST controller and controller annotations are clear to you and you know when to use when. So if you like the video, kindly hit that like and subscribe button for this channel. This was it for this video. Thank you for watching this video.